Today, we'll join a huge crowd of people following Jesus. He sees their hurts and pains and cares for them in many ways. He leads them to a mountain. Are you ready to climb the mountain? There are many ways to climb. Remember that you can hike, you can use ropes, you can push yourself using a rolling wheelchair, or you can climb by yourself and with a friend. So pick a way to move up the mountain and we'll do it to the count of 20. Ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Whew, we made it. Let's find a seat and settle our bodies after that climb. In your imagination, let's look around at all we can see. In Jesus' time, people believed mountains were holy and special places to be with God. Maybe because they reach up so high into the sky. Let's reach up as high as a mountain. It's good to stretch after a big climb. Jesus told the gathered people about God's kingdom on this mountain. And you can think of a kingdom as the way the world works or is set up. In God's kingdom, there is abundance, more than enough honor and food and money and honor and love and power and resources for every child of God to thrive. Jesus says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." Peace is so important that there are many symbols for peace around the world. People recognize doves and olive branches and peace signs and the peace hand sign as images that bring us together. In fact, if you look up peace in your emojis, you'll find a few of those symbols on your phone or whatever device you're using. We say peace to describe being calm, still, and not disrupted. The kind of peace Jesus talked about was more than calm, quiet, or even a lack of conflict. For Jesus, true peace was what he and his followers called shalom. Can you say that with me? Shalom. Shalom means wholeness and wellness. Shalom means all your needs, physical, emotional, and spiritual, etc., are met and lovingly cared for. Have you ever felt that kind of peace? There were many people listening to Jesus who did not experience this kind of shalom, and there are many people today who don't either. In Jesus' time, Rome conquered many different people's lands and forced Roman laws and customs onto them. They called it the Pax Romana, which means peace within Rome. This did not feel like peace to the people whose lands and lives they took over. Rome thought it was peace because they squelched anyone who had a different view or belief than they did. It may have been quiet in Rome, but it definitely didn't feel peaceful. There wasn't conflict, but it was a fake kind of peace. There is a long history across the world of governments taking over people and land, saying that they will bring peace, but instead imposing laws that hurt and oppress. To truly create peace or shalom for everyone, we must use our voices and what power we have to bring justice, not just say we want peace. Have you ever heard the phrase, no justice, no peace? Where have you seen or heard it before? People have been chanting "no justice, no peace" during protests since the 1970s and 1980s. It means there won't be wholeness or peace until there is justice among us. When some of us are treated unfairly, that injustice creates trouble and pain. On the other hand, if there is justice, our community is safe and peaceful because everyone's needs are lovingly cared for and met. God desires peace and wholeness among all people, young and old, disabled and non-disabled, among all genders, between all nations, and among all expressions of faith. Remember, God's peace is not fake peace. It is a deep wholeness that is sometimes disruptive. This is why Jesus blessed the peacemakers. Before we transition to our next activity, I would like to bless you. A blessing is something you receive, so go ahead and hold out your hands like you're going to be receiving a gift, and I will speak a blessing, and if you receive it, you can put it into your heart. So let's get ready. May God bless you with peace to be a peacemaker. Imagining, pause and discuss each question together. You can do this while coloring the coloring sheet if you'd like. What does peace mean to you? What does it look like to be a peacemaker here and now? Why do you think there can't be peace until there is justice? How can you be a peacemaker in your own community? Sometimes making peace means noticing patterns of how things work in the world. A pattern is something that repeats. Some of these patterns, where people live, what schools children go to, may work for some, but not everyone. Being a peacemaker might mean being a disruptor by interrupting a pattern and creating a new pattern that brings wholeness for each person. At school, you might notice a pattern of certain classmates being left out. Or maybe some kids have more chances to do something than others. You can work toward a new and fairer pattern by making changes in your own behavior and encouraging others to join you. But what happens if you notice patterns you do not have the power to change? Maybe you notice your teacher seems to treat some children more harshly than others. For example, imagine you see the teacher sending a classmate out of the room every time they talk out of turn and speaking harshly to them when they forget things like a pencil, even when many other children are doing the same thing. The person who is responsible for creating peace here is the teacher. People in power have the responsibility to behave justly to everyone. What kind of small peace can you make around you when you are not in charge? Tell a grown-up there is a problem? Give a little encouragement to the classmate, letting them know you see their frustrating situation. And sometimes when grown-ups try to make peace, they get stuck. They cannot think beyond their arguments or barriers. But children are often more imaginative and creative when it comes to making peace. Use your imagination to think of creative solutions to some problems. You can disrupt the patterns with your magical mind. Use this session's activity pages to disrupt the unjust patterns illustrated on them. Cut the page in half along the cut line. For each half page, cut along the 2 cut lines to the dashed line in the middle of the page. Fold the middle flap down along the dashed fold line to cover the illustration in the middle. Then fold the flap on the right side down along the dashed fold line to cover the last illustration. On the 2 flaps that are folded over, draw or write what you think would disrupt the pattern to make a more peaceful pattern. Then you can lift the flaps up and down to see how the patterns are disrupted. And repeat, of course, for the rest of the scenarios. God of peace, we want to be peacemakers and justice workers in your name. We want to follow your lead in creating a world where each one of us experiences true wholeness. Please show us what our next step is today in creating the peace our world needs. Amen.